Hey guys, welcome back to Ranger Survival and Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew. What I have for you today is a lightweight go bag setup. This is my wet weather spring season go bag setup. And what this is primarily used for is to get away from danger, make our way to safety, and everything in here will give us the ability to do that and at a lightweight cost as well. So the bag that I'm running is a direct action dragon egg bag. It's like a 2 to 3 day assault bag. And this bag I like a lot because I'm a big fan of Polish camo, which is the camo you see on it. But then this bag also has a lot of different MOLLE attachments with this large panel right on the front here. So we can add pouches to it or tuck things away in here if we need to. It also has that same attachment style on the bottle pouches right here. We have two long straps running vertically to each side of that large MOLLE panel where we can make other attachments and add things. Plus we have straps on the sides all the way down and to the bottom to add additional pouches or additional things or carry additional items, maybe firewood or things that we find. But we can also use those straps to tighten this bag down into the tightest shape possible. That way we can travel with this, and if we have to make our way over obstacles or crawl through tunnels, we have a small bag that we can take with us. One other thing I really like about this bag is the handle at the top is made of paracord, so we can take that paracord off and use this for improvisation if we need to, but it makes an excellent handhold right here. So that's the bag. Generally on the back, we have the waist strap, shoulder straps, but then we have nice padding right here with a nice camelback bladder compartment where we can put a camelback in there if we need to. We've got something else in there right now as part of our setup, and we'll go over that here in a second. But that's the bag, a lightweight bag. This total kit is about 10 pounds, maybe a little bit less than 10 pounds. I have a 10-pound weight over at the gym over here, and I just picked it up and kind of weighed it, and it felt similar. But this is a very lightweight bag, so we can move with this bag very easily and still provide for our most basic needs. Now, we'll go over the items in the bag, and I'm gonna start in back because, like I said, we've got something else in the bladder compartment as opposed to a bladder. And what we have back here is defense. So we've got our defensive weapons in the back, in the camelback compartment. Part of the reason that I put it in there is that it's out of sight, out of mind. And if I get pulled over or stopped, or if I'm wearing this backpack, they're less likely to look in the camelback compartment. And this kind of fits down in there nice and snug-like. Plus, with the holster, you can take this out, moving away from danger, and then appendix carry this or side carry. But we have our defense weapon right here. It's a Glock 27 40 cal or 40 Smith & Wesson, a nice handgun with two extended mags. And what we lack in ammo capacity, we make up for with a 40 Smith & Wesson with stopping power and penetrating power. So this weapon is also good for defeating a threat, but then also good for maybe defending against predators out in the wild, which may be something you might have to do, at least where I'm at. So 40 Smith & Wesson, that 27 Glock is going to be the choice for a lightweight setup like this for that penetrating power as well as stopping power, and then even maybe a little bit of hunting in a rural or wilderness environment. So we've got our defense. Flip this back over. Now, hydration is going to be key, but in a springtime, wet weather environment, it's been raining for the last few days, we can go with a lighter weight option. And one of those lightweight options, obviously, is going to be something like a grail, a large grail like this. We can filter 24 ounces of water in about 15 seconds, make it safe to drink. We can do that and repeat as often as necessary to get hydrated. Plus, we can travel with the water inside the bottle. So this is going to be a good lightweight option. A lot of use in this grail right here in many different environments. But we can use this, fill up with water, and then continue moving. We don't need to boil water. We don't need chemical treatment tabs. We just have this filter, fill up, drink, and continue moving. Plus, if we have cash on us or money on us, we can buy water at a gas station potentially or pick up water along the way. But a grail is going to be a great option for a lightweight, wet weather type go bag. Stay hydrated. All right, so we'll look at the top pouch here. I got my IR flag on the hook pile tape. And in this pouch, just small miscellaneous items. So first we got a headlamp. We want to be able to see in the dark. We want to be able to see what we're doing and have our hands free in the dark as well. So a headlamp is going to give us that. Plus this doubles as a signaling device that we can use as a strobe to hang up in a tree or at least set a signal and alert search or rescue if we're trying to be found that way. But some way to see in the dark, see what we're doing, especially in an urban environment. You got to go into a dark place to escape. you want to be able to see what you're doing while you move through there. So we got the headlamp, we got a lighter with rubber and 100-mile-an-hour tape wrapped around it. This is our fire starting tool or our fire kit, because a lighter is going to be a lightweight option, number one fire starting tool, but we have two different flame extender sources here with the tape as well as the rubber being key in a wet weather environment. A lot of the material, if we have to start a fire, is going to be marginal at best. We grab the dead dry stuff up on the trees, in the branches, that's hanging up off the ground, grab it, make our fire lay, and then we can use rubber, which will burn for a long time, to get that fire going so we can dry ourselves out and get warm and avoid hypothermia. So our fire kit is just that lighter with a little bit of rubber and 100-mile-an-hour tape. Next, got a small survival tin. Love carrying these things in different kits. This is a small one compared to the large ones I usually carry, but a smaller one with a few smaller items or less quantity items. But this kit gives us everything to start a fire, signal search and rescue, build a shelter, find food, and land navigate, as well as treat small cuts, lacerations, or abrasions, and acts as a medical kit as well. So we've got a small survival tin that can go in this lightweight setup right here in the outside pouch, and that's it. We go for the smaller compartment first. That smaller compartment, one thing that I like to carry in lightweight go bags is some sort of other bag or container. It could be a sea line bag, it could be a freezer bag. This is just a sandbag, military type, that we can use as a ditty bag. So we can pull this out if we got to run through an area and we got to move fast. We can use this to actually throw items in, resources, whatever, grab and go, and then run away. We can cross-load this later if we're part of a group, or put it inside the bag once we get what we got and we move off the X. So we've got this bag that doubles as a ditty bag or an emergency go bag to grab stuff. All right, next, just a 10-foot hank of 1150 paracord. So this is going to be stronger type paracord or rope. Just think 10 feet of rope right here to use it to get over an obstacle, to use it to pull something open, or act as an extender or help set up a shelter, whatever it is, just a utility cord as part of our kit. And then what I like to carry in a lightweight setup is going to be a multi-tool. Leatherman is typically my multi-tool of choice. This is the Leatherman Wave Alpha, and so it's that new one. We got a straight blade, we got a file, as well as a saw for notching, scissors, and obviously the pliers and wire cutters especially, but just a utility tool that can do just about anything for us. Open cans, take out screws, drill through wood, whatever we need. And that good multi-tool is going to be part of a good lightweight kit as a utility and cutting tool. All right, next we've got land navigation items. Land navigation is going to be incredibly important, especially if you're making your way off the X. So we've got our map, and inside we've actually got our compass first, so we can use that for direction finding, obviously. And then just a waterproof case for a map. We don't necessarily need this because the map inside is actually made out of Tyvek. And so Tyvek is waterproof in and of itself, but we have a way to carry our map, a way to terrain associate, and use the map for land navigation combined with that compass so we can find our way. Navigation is going to be incredibly important when you're moving on foot. You can use roads, but you may have to go off-road, and so having a map to at least land navigate and move from point to point using attack points or reference points is going to be really important. So you need to have that map, have that compass. Combined with that, we have our GPS to keep us on track. We can build routes into this, but we can use this as a way to check where we are, combined with our map and compass to give us a complete, redundant land navigation kit so we never stay lost for long. We're just temporarily misplaced. We regroup, we strategize, plan a route, and then we move out. And then lastly, we're gonna need some food. So high-calorie energy bars, like these Kind bars, 20 grams of protein, about 250, 240 calories per bar. So we got 500 calories right there, 40 grams of protein with a lot of carbohydrates and some sugars, stuff to keep us going while we're moving on foot. Food important. And moving to the large compartment, the first thing we have on top is our blowout kit or a medical kit. And this is gonna be for serious wounds, things to stop the bleed. We've got a nice thick rubber band holding that together. We've got our combat gauze that we can use to plug the wound once we identify the point of injury, sweep the blood away, pack this inside, stop the bleeding. We've got our Israeli bandage. We can use this to treat the wound, wrap it up, package it for transport. We've got a combat shear so we can cut away the clothing, pinpoint the injury itself, and then treat it. And we also have, first thing we need to use is that tourniquet to stop the bleeding right away at the source and save our life. A human being can bleed out in about 2 to 3 minutes from a large catastrophic wound, especially to an extremity. So tourniquets to go around that extremity, up above the wound, high and tight, and then twist this until the bleeding stops. And then we can use the rest of this kit to package that wound and transport the casualty. All right, next, gloves. We're gonna want gloves to move around. Even though everything's wet, we need gloves to grab onto to protect our digits, but then to get a good secure handhold. And now that it's springtime, thorns are gonna start coming out, so we wanna protect our hands as much as possible. Use this to move debris and foliage away, and then put these on as protection as well to insulate our hands, or at least protect our hands from the cold that's gonna come around at nighttime as well. We got gloves. Same thing with the hat. We wanna protect the head, especially for those of us that are losing our hair. A hat to keep our heads warm. And then what I like to pack is some sort of scarf or sniper veil. It's getting warmer, obviously, during the daytime, and moving into a wilderness environment or a rural environment, a sniper veil like this would give us some camouflage, but also warmth at nighttime. So we could use this as camouflage or simply wear it. There's a lot of good uses for a sniper veil that kind of outpace a shemagh alone. So a sniper veil is going to be good, especially in that hot weather or springtime environment. Camouflage, medical aid, improvisation, a lot of good things with the sniper veil. And then last big thing is going to be a rain jacket. With this lightweight setup, we really don't have any shelter items. We're not going to stop and take a break necessarily. So we want to be able to keep moving, but we want to be able to do it safely without getting totally drenched, and then maintaining thermoregulation. And so we have a wet weather jacket here that also doubles as a windbreaker. It's actually very windy right now. I got my barn door up and the trees are just going back and forth. So wet weather combined with a strong wind in low temperature environments, we're talking 40s, 50s, that's the prime area where hypothermia is going to be at the greatest risk. It's not down below the 30s all the time, but primarily in wet, windy environments, roughly 30 to 50 degrees, that's the prime time to get hypothermia. So we want a windbreaker. We want a way to contain body heat with a waterproof jacket like this that doubles to keep the rain off and then act as a windbreak and keep our body heat in. So we got that wet weather jacket, probably one of the more important items in this setup. And that is it for the lightweight wet weather go bag setup. All right, guys, that does it for this video. A down and dirty video today, just a kit layout on the springtime wet weather go bag setup. A lot different from my winter kit. It's going to be different from my fall kit and my summer kit generally. But I wanted to show you what I'm rocking right now before it actually gets even hotter and we have to switch this gear up again. So I hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.